Are you a parent and you're wondering, is my child too young to start learning an instrument? Well, you're going to want to watch this video. In this video, I'm going to let you know what's the perfect age to get your child learning a new instrument. Are they too young? Are they too old? You're going to want to watch this video. Stay tuned. Okay, so you have a budding preschooler or kindergartner or early elementary student, and you want to get them involved into extracurricular activities such as music. You're wondering, they're 4, 5, maybe even 3 years old. Is this age too early for them to start learning an instrument? What is the perfect age? I'm going to tell you. Now, this answer really can depend. What are the dependencies, you ask? It could depend on the maturity of the child, how well the child listens for their age, how well they follow instructions for their age, and how long they're able to kind of sit still for a few minutes at a time to actually take instruction. This varies per child. I've seen children taking piano and violin lessons as early as 3 years old. I've seen kids start instruments around 5 or 6, and I've seen kids just starting to learn new instruments at the elementary age, 4th or 5th grade, which is what I teach. I'm an elementary music coach. This question is tricky, and it really depends on those factors, but I would say a good age to start your child with learning a new instrument is 4 years old. Yes, 4. And it depends on, the instrument that they use. But I would say 4 years old is a good age. Okay. Now, here's my next point. It's really never too early to introduce them to music. And what I mean by that is introduce them to different sounds like pots and pans. Music doesn't have to be so formal. It doesn't have to be you going to an instructor's house or going to a music center, taking lessons for 30 minutes, learning to read notes and things like that. I think that is great because that's how I learned and how many of us learn. But you can learn that over time. I think having various music strategies or learning things like playing drums on the pots and pans, that's music as well, especially to little kids. Or giving them little instruments like hand drums, triangles, things like that. When I was young and I was in elementary school, my teacher would give us those paper towels, cardboard paper towel rolls where you would put rice on one end, patch it up with tape on the other end, patch it up with tape on the top, and you would just shake, 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 shake. And that was our maracas. That was technically an instrument. It wasn't expensive. It didn't require any lessons. So you can kind of make instruments in your home. So to sum it up, it's never too early to introduce them to music informally, such as, things you can do around the house, or singing songs, of course, or watching videos and saying, hey, what did you hear? Can you repeat that back to me? Or can you sing it back to me? Or can you play it back to me? There is never a right or wrong time for that. But for formal music lessons, I think that sweet spot, and this depends on the instrument. If you're doing something like violin or keyboard, 4 is good. Now, if your child wants to learn something like bassoon or tuba or clarinet, you may want to wait till upper elementary for that. But the main ones at such a young age are going to be like violin and keyboard. So I think 4 years old is great. Another point to make is, okay, so you have a child. They may be a little older on the upper elementary or maybe even lower elementary scale, and you want to put them in lessons. But the child is a bit resistant to taking lessons in the traditional sense of going to someone's home or going to a music facility or center. Perfectly fine. Okay, so what do you do in that situation? Well, I would say we're in the digital age. Kids spend so much time on the internet. So if they don't want to have a physical lesson like how I grew up, I grew up going to my teacher's house, and you guys probably remember that as well. So if you don't want to have a physical music lesson, take courses online. There are online music courses and classes that you can take where that will teach your child like the basics, like ABC 1, 2, 3s of music. And there are pockets and pockets of music videos that will teach you. This one creator can probably teach you things such as middle C, and maybe one creator can teach you songs like Mary Had a Little Lamb. So I would say if they don't have the tolerance to actually go to someone's house or a center for lessons, you can find online courses that are available for them to choose from. And if you feel very strongly about your child taking music lessons, this is what I would say. Just do it anyway. They're children. Just try it. There's no harm in trying. You don't want to be, want your child to have any regrets. You don't want to be that adult that says, my mom offered me music lessons or my grandparents offered me music lessons, but I said no, and I kind of regret that I said no as a child. And I know there are a few adults that have that same story. So if they're reluctant to taking lessons in the traditional sense, I say just do it anyway. What's the harm in that? Another point that I really want to make is let the child introduce you to what they want to do. If you have a child and they are showing an interest in music or anything like that, don't discourage it. Always encourage the direction that they want to go in. Because what that does is it builds discipline and it sparks their curiosity. Another point that I wanted to make about taking lessons online or in person via online. I think in person is great. They both have their pros and cons. When you're taking lessons with an instructor, you have someone that can teach you personally, guide you, that can hold you accountable. Okay, we learned this last week. You should have this down packed by now. Okay. I'm not one of those teachers, I promise. That's one of the pros of having a teacher or a coach, because they can actually hold you accountable, hold you responsible. When you're in a room all to yourself and you're not really having a teacher that's kind of by your side allows you to have community. They can introduce you to other musicians or other programs where the child is just not by themselves doing music. And I always say the earlier the better. The sooner you start something, the sooner you realize whether you like it or whether you don't like it. So there's no curiosity there. The sooner they start piano lessons, guitar, voice lessons, they can figure out, okay, I like this, or okay, I don't really like this. I'll tell you a story. When I first started out, I wanted to play the harp like at around 8 or 9 years old. I was with the DC Youth Orchestra, and they told me in order for you to play harp, you have to have some piano skills. And I did not know how to play the piano. So what did my parents do? They put me in piano lessons at around, I think 10 years old. When I was taking piano lessons, my piano teacher said, oh, you need to start taking voice lessons. I'm like, voice lessons for what? I want to play piano. I don't want to take voice lessons. But I started taking voice lessons and probably around 12 years old. And what I discovered was I really liked singing. I really liked taking voice lessons. And had I not been introduced to like flute, piano, and other things, I would not have realized how much I enjoyed this thing. So what does that mean? Doing leads to discovery. The more you do and the quicker you do, you can discover the things that you really like and that you really want to dedicate yourself to. So I say, why wait? Start now. If you're a homeschooling or world schooling parent and you're interested in getting your child registered for online music lessons, you're going to want to click the link below. Below is my registration of interest form to get on the waiting list for my online music classes. Tune in to the next video. I'll see you guys later. Bye for now.